And today I want to talk to you about the difference between social isolation and solitude. Now, just in case you're not quite sure what solitude is, well, it depends on who you ask. Solitude is actually one of the 12 spiritual disciplines. It is an intentional setting aside of time and space to be by yourself. And one of the things I hear from people who don't really have great social connectedness is that, I just really like to be by myself. I just enjoy my company. However, with many interactions and observing how people are functioning in their communities, I realize that some of the times when people are saying that I just like my own company, they're actually afraid of being hurt. They are afraid of putting themselves out there, of trying to make friends, of trying to reach out to people when they are the new person on the block. And so, some of the times when you're claiming that you just enjoy your solitude, it is very likely that instead you are just suffering in social isolation. Now, when you think of being isolated, most people became familiar with that term when it had to do with staying away from others to prevent the spread of disease. But isolation is not just for medical purposes. Isolation is possible even when you live with people, you're surrounded by people. This is when people talk about being with a crowd but feeling alone, or being alone but not being lonely. A simple way of describing isolation is feeling lonely. And if it is your time that you spend alone is not intentional, and you're not really enjoying that time, where you come out of that time feeling refreshed, rejuvenated, you feel like, oh wow, I feel more confident about who I am. I am enjoying this time when I get to just sit with my thoughts without having anyone else intruding and sharing their own opinions and distracting me. Then that's you being isolated, not you enjoying your solitude. And so, if it is you are giving yourself that excuse to say, oh, I just like my own company, I can't be bothered with going out and meeting people and doing all these things. Everything is better when I do things my own way. This is just your cover for not wanting to get hurt, not wanting to be rejected, not wanting to try something new. And especially when you're an adult, making new friends, building new connections in a strange place, in a new environment is very scary. However, I want to encourage you to take that step out. Just in the same way a toddler is learning to walk and they're putting themselves out there and they're holding on to things and they're taking their time. They fall many times. Sometimes they get hurt, sometimes they quickly pick themselves up and they keep going. That's what it's like when you are trying to build connections in your community, especially when you are a foreigner, when you don't have like a family receiving you, or friends who are showing you how things work. It can be very lonely if you don't make the effort to go out and have many interactions, or few meaningful interactions. So I want you to make that distinction. If it is not fueling you, if it is not increasing your self love, your understanding of yourself, then that's not solitude. That's not the replenishing form of rest that we take, the social rest that we take. So if you are wondering, maybe I do need to practice solitude, maybe I am a busybody and I need to, take some time for myself, then if you're not familiar with what solitude looks like, solitude is specifically one, setting time aside to be alone. And during that time, you are doing activities that are encouraging care for self, understanding of self. It's a time to reconnect with yourself, to become reacquainted with yourself, because sometimes when you're meeting all these different people, you're learning a new language, you're trying new food, you're learning different cultures, you can easily forget who you are, what you enjoy, what you prefer, what your limitations are, what your deal breakers are. And so sometimes we need to step away from everybody else, even if we love being around them, to get reacquainted with who we are, with our values, and to kind of assess, where do I want to go from here? Am I going in the right direction? So that's what solitude is for. And all of us need to take times of solitude. You need to ensure that when you set this time, let us say you say, okay, my time of solitude is probably early in the morning before I start my day. Or maybe you take a day off in the weekend, where you just go off for a couple hours, take a nature walk, or you go hiking, or whatever it is. Maybe you go and you sit beneath a shady tree, and you journal and just kind of pour your thoughts out on the page. Whatever it is that you do, try to avoid any distractions, any interruptions during your time of solitude. This could be like putting away your electronic devices, not being connected to the internet. But whatever it is, treasure that time, and try to have it often enough so that you can refuel yourself to go back out in the world and engage with others. But outside of that special time that's just for you, to reconnect with you, please just fight it. Even if you have put yourself out there, you have connected with others, and you have been disappointed, or maybe you got things off on the wrong foot. Think of it like when someone meets in an accident and they go into rehab, and they have to learn to walk again, just like the baby. They have to learn to feed themselves again. Treat your soul that way. Put your soul into rehab. So if you've been through some unpleasant experiences as you tried to get acquainted with your new environment and the people that you're around, and you're kind of wondering, I can't be bothered with this, I would say put yourself into rehab. Take those baby steps. We spoke about in the last session, where you start to sift through, observe people, identify people who share the same values, the same temperament and approaches and worldviews, and start slowly with those, just like someone in rehab. And then take your time and build it up until you find people who can really connect with you. One commenter during beneath the last live stream pointed out that people who are introverted or spend the time to sift through the crowd to identify who they want to connect with, lean into their intuition, and they're very good at tapping into people's characters and knowing who is best aligned with them. So be kind to yourself. Don't lock yourself away and stay in isolation. Yes, there's a time for solitude and enjoying your own company, but once you are in community, you can thrive. You will accomplish more. You will go further, faster when you can do it with others. So I hope that you will take this out as one more tip, one more little boost, one more motivation to build and increase your social connectedness, because you need social connectedness to thrive. You need social connectedness to stay resilient, because life will come and knock you down. But if it is, you have others standing with you, people who are going through the journey, who are ahead of you to tell you where the potholes are and to cheer you on, then you'll definitely enjoy the ride. So until next time, I look forward to your comments again. If you have questions, if you have challenges, put them in the comments, and I'll be sure to respond to you in our next connection. Bye.